Namu Myoho Renge Kyo. Namu Myoho Renge Kyo. Namu Myoho Renge Kyo. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Now, I usually do this at the end of the videos, but because sometimes I think I might be missing some of you, I want to remind all of you contributors to this channel, my patrons, either on Patreon or independently through paypal.me/SifuSylvain. Thank you so much. You guys are really, really important to keeping the fundamentals of this channel going, things like internet fees and on and on and on, equipment and so forth. So you guys, my bodhisattvas, thank you. And our bodhisattvas, because all of us benefit from your support. And of course, as always, all of you, welcome. I'm Sifu Sylvain. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe. It's so important to expand our reach, to solidify this channel's existence. And it's our bodhisattva work, right? We share these videos with one another so that we can get together in small groups or even independently or just in the comments section so that we foster this sangha, this energy into our environment to change our communities, change our counties, states, countries, world, and get this message of self-awakening into the minds of everyone, whether they practice Buddhism seriously or whether they're just very appreciative that those of us who do are doing something to alter the crazy world we live in, filled with so much avarice and manipulation and distrust. And anyway, you know, you live it every day. So we got to get the noise level of egos and maniacal thinking and taking advantage of one another and just non-life affirming behavior. We need to bring that noise down, right? Life is to be lived to the full so that each one of us, with all our potential, wonderful, manifest fully and appreciate this life that we have for really quite a brief time. So thank you. Thank you for being a bodhisattva, for being a votary of the Lotus Sutra. That's incredible. And you should feel awesome about it. I know sometimes it's hard because we all go through struggles. But with confidence, with the security of mind that we know that Buddhahood is just a thought away. It is our mind that provides us our amazing experience of life, right? So, without further editorializing, let's get back into this selecting the right time. And perhaps in this video we may get to the end of this Gosho. But I'm less concerned with finishing a Gosho than I am with analyzing it well, because the lessons and the confidence and the security that we feel in our self-attainment, correct, comes from understanding the words of Shakyamuni Buddha and the scholarship by our great mentor Nichiren of those words. So, as we reviewed last time, Nichiren was talking in terms of how Buddhism has evolved over time, how it has come from China into Japan and Korea, and how the true flavor, you would say, in the parlance of Buddhism, has been manipulated, corrupted, misrepresented by certain teachers whose goal, rather than the amazing goal of Buddhism, was simply to be the favorite of the emperor, to gain lands, wealth, power, influence, all ego. Gee, that doesn't sound much different than today, does it? But unfortunately, the teaching then gets relegated to a tool, and the focus isn't on Buddhism anymore. It's on personalities and people, right? We don't follow the people, we follow the law. We want to instantiate Buddha in our minds. And that's not done by slavishly following habits and rituals that people tell us, that organizations make us belong to. It's not about, we belong to something already. Let me make that clear at the get-go here. And I've said this before, but maybe I don't say it often enough. Today, in this age, when we talk about the latter age of Buddhism, this age of degeneration, what we're truly looking at, to give you a mental picture, is that we're all bodhisattvas of the earth. The bodhisattvas of the earth analogy was given in the Lotus Sutra thousands of years ago to indicate those that would come from, manifest from the future, like a plant, like renge, like a lotus blossom, comes from a muddy swamp. What's a muddy swamp? The earth, the ferment from the future, what has been fermented with experience and evolution and growth, creates a soil, a body that can manifest future minds. These are the bodhisattvas from beneath the earth, that story. That's you and I. That's every human on the planet. Does that mean that every human on the planet is a Buddhist? No, of course not. Because when we call someone a Buddhist, we're talking about a human mind or a sentient mind that has dedicated itself to the practice of instantiating Buddha in the mind. That's what a Buddhist is. That's what a monk is. But the potential in all humans on this planet is bodhisattva, is assisting others to better themselves, more specifically, to instantiate Buddha, to maximize their potential in life. Every human on the planet has that potential. And therefore, I say to you, that means that the human race is the Sangha. So we have many, whether you want to call them brothers and sisters or fellow Buddhists, however you want to conceptualize every human on the planet, we have a lot of our fellow humans that have not been assisted yet or directed to or shown the way of the Lotus Sutra self-realization, self-practice. There's a lot of work to be done. There are Sangha too. And I want you to think that way because as you course your daily life in the world, as a bodhisattva, as a Buddhist, two things. First of all, have complete confidence in the fact that your practice is like an aura of energy moving into the world around you. So even without saying a word, if you course through the world with your Buddha mind, your Buddha consciousness, you will affect the world around you. So even those who do not practice Buddhism will sense that manifestation, that potential. And because of that, you will find occasionally that as you course through the world, as you go into Home Depot, as you go shopping at Walmart, people will be attracted to you. You may not notice them, but they may just come out of the blue and just start talking to you. They won't know why. They may even giggle at the fact that, I don't know why I'm asking you this or why that, blah, blah. Because their Buddha nature is being drawn to you. They feel that fountain of manifestation and they want some of it. They don't know how to ask. They're not aware. So find some way to include, be a bodhisattva. Of course I'll help you. Namu Myoho Renge Kyo, I will help you. What? What was that? What did you just say? Namu Myoho Renge Kyo. Have you never heard that? No, what is that? It sounds interesting. Well, say it with me. Namu Myoho Renge Kyo. Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? It opens up all possibilities for you. It opens the mind. It's an invocation of our highest nature, our Buddha nature. Oh, wow, I've heard about Buddhism. Da, 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 da. Or they might go, oh, well, that's really great. Okay, so could you answer my question? Sure. It's all you needed to do. You planted the seed. They might just want to hang out to you all day now and ask questions about Buddhism. Don't be afraid of that. Just keep it simple. Well, we should get together and chant sometime. We can sit down and have a cereal. Look, I'm shopping for cereal right now. This isn't really the place, but I'm so happy that you asked. And if you'd like to find out more or pursue that further, you can call me at this number or go to here's my email. And I invite you to come to my home and chant with me sometime, and we can have a discussion. It's just simple. It's just human-to-human relation, right? So be prepared. Know that you're influencing your environment with your effort toward Buddhahood. Yeah? All right. The wisest in the world. Interesting statement to begin this with. Question. Self-conceit, which is a form of an evil passion, right? An avarice of possession that we're talking about all the time, can be divided into 7, 8, or 9 categories. Okay. The great self-conceit of yours is 100,000, 10,000, and 10 million times larger than the self-conceit preached in Buddhism. So assuming, of course, Nichiren's writing these questions, but he's interpreting what he's typically faced with in Japanese society at the time. So don't forget that you may attract these from time to time too. People who will see you as, oh, you think you're so much better than everyone else, which is nothing could be further from the truth. But remember, when people say things about you, they're really saying something about themselves. And if something about you feels strong and powerful and it scares them, the first thing they're going to try to do is ridicule you, get you back down to size, so that they don't feel so scared of what they don't know. They're just ignorant. Namo Myo Renge Kyo. Stop being ignorant. You don't have to be ignorant. You're actually choosing to be ignorant. Don't do that. You might not want to say that right away, though. Commentator Ganaprava did not show respect to Bodhisattva Maitreya. Brahman the boaster sat on a chair with statues of the four sages under the Buddha, as including the Buddha, as its four legs. Right? We've already talked about that statement. Mahadeva claimed to be an arhat while being merely an ordinary man. Well, we're all ordinary men. We're talking about states of mind here, but letting go that particular misnomer. And commentator Vimalamitra called himself the greatest in India. They all fell into the hell of incessant suffering. They were criminals committed to hell. Why do you claim to be the wisest in the world? How can it be that you will not fall into a great hell? How dreadful it is, right? This all being said, theoretically, to Nichiren. Answer. Do you know anything about 7, 8, or 9 kinds of self-conceit? When Shakyamuni Buddha claimed to be the first in the triple world, all the non-Buddhists predicted that he would soon be punished by heaven on that earth, or that the earth would split open and crumble. He was not punished, however. Instead, he was protected by heaven, both on the right and the left, and earth was as solid as a diamond and did not split open. So what does that mean? What I preface this very talk with. We radiate our life-affirming nurturing of mind, of understanding and compassion. We reverberate that, or penetrates our environment. Therefore, our environment becomes more supportive. Isn't that the whole gist of Buddhism here? If you want to experience fully your life, manifest all of your life-affirming, magnificent experience of the world, then the world must surely be demonstrating that back to you. Otherwise, you're deluded. I'm dreaming, I'm in a better place, all that crap. No, in Buddhism is earthbound, it's pragmatic. If you're going to have a more lucid and more wonderful life, then the life that you experienced in samsara, in the world, must then be showing that to you, for you to experience it. Not a dream, an actual experience. So Buddhism says this over and over and over. We are one, environment and self. That's the primary delusion, is that we somehow, identity, are separate from environment, from other. That's the first load of baloney. Oh, sorry. Right? So doesn't it make sense that if you're going to have a better experience, your experience comes from what your senses are telling you? So obviously the world around you must be different. But is it? Is it that this book and this seat and this microphone and this camera change because I practice Buddhism? See, there's the hat trick. The reason that seems confusing is because we're still talking about things instead of recognizing that everything is flowing, everything is energy. And this very same camera, and this very same microphone, and this very same book become the locus of joy in my life. Because instead of feeling ownership, hanging on to it, worrying about it breaking or getting lost or blah, 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 I'm being with it Oh, that's so liberating. The camera is with me and I'm with the camera, and that means I can speak to all of you and you're all with me, and that's amazing. But how do I know that? How do I experience that? Because I have a mind. And the mind that I have when I feel that way is Buddha. It's understanding the real merit of life, this community of sentience. As we move through time, space, time, however you want to say it. Time without beginning, without end. It's in this moment. It's happening right now. Yeah? Punished by heaven, earth. These are unfortunate terms, and it's a fallacy of language, and it's a fallacy ultimately of translation bias, because this is the kind of rhetoric we always have about the world as other, but it isn't. Obviously, the world becomes this center of great joy, not because the world itself has changed, but because we perceive it appropriately, without all of the binds and various attachments that bring us anxiety, fear, stress, right? So, 300 monks of the 7 temples in Nara wondered whether or not the monk Saicho, Grandmaster Dengyo, was a self-conceited Mahadeva, and Tepuku of India reincarnated in Japan. Well, there we go with that reincarnation craziness. No, there's no such thing as reincarnation. But regardless, even if you were to change the word reincarnated to the idea that Grandmaster Dengyo thought himself to be the embodiment of some great mythical figure, right? Or a figure not so mythical, but it depends on how you see Buddhism, right? A previous written about expedient story as a personage. Nichiren has done this, seeing his mission in life and his persecution and his dedication not dissimilar to what was described in the Lotus and other sutras as Bodhisattva never disparage, or Bodhisattva superior conduct, or Bodhisattva superior practices, depending on how they're translated. Nichiren was identifying with those characterizations, those personages. He never saw himself as a reincarnation. How can you be a reincarnation if the story that you're reincarnating was never incarnate? It was just a story, right? Got off on a tangent a little bit. However, Grandmaster Dengyo established the Enrakuji temple on Mount Hiei, and he became the eye of all the people. In the end, the 7 temples in Nara surrendered to the Grandmaster and became his disciples, while people in various provinces in Japan became members of his congregation. Some of the wording here is a little regrettable, but the point is made. And you have to understand, Nichiren is talking to a shogunate, an authoritarian, a dictatorial government, a people that are accustomed to the rhetoric of war, submission, winning, losing, right? So he's using rhetoric like surrendered to the Grandmaster Dengyo. But what he's in essence saying is that Dengyo, through debate, as we've read before, has established his superior understanding of Buddhism and what it means without the political baloney, without the ego getting in the way. This is how he submitted all of the other corrupt leaders. And they had to admit, oh, yeah, you're right. What they surrendered wasn't to Dengyo. What they surrendered was their avarice, their mistaken thoughts, their corruption. That's what they surrendered. You see? Therefore, it is not self-conceit, though it sounds like it, Nichiren continues, to call something excellent when it is actually excellent. It is an act of great merit, not conceit. The Grand Master says in his outstanding principles of the Lotus Sutra, quote, the Tendai Lotus School is superior to other schools of Buddhism because its basic canon, the Lotus Sutra, is superior to those of other schools. This is not self-conceit slandering others. It's just a fact. It is said in the Lotus Sutra, Facile 7, Chapter 23, quote, Mount Sumeru is the greatest of mountains. Likewise, this Lotus Sutra is supreme of all sutras. These are the words of Shakyamuni. This means that the Lotus Sutra transmitted to Japan is like Mount Sumeru, while all other sutras, that is 5,000 or 7,000 facials of pre-Lotus Sutra, such as the Flower Garland, Great Wisdom, and Great Sun Buddha Sutras, the Sutra of Infinite Meaning, which was preached at the same time as the Lotus Sutra, and post-Lotus Sutra, such as the Nirvana Sutra, as well as all the Buddhist sutras in India, the Dragon's Palace, the Heavens of the Four Heavenly Kings, the Trayastima Timsa Heaven, the Sun and Moon, and all the worlds in the universe are like earth mountains, black mountains, small surrounding iron mountains, and great surrounding iron mountains, which encircle Mount Sumeru. It is also said in the same chapter, quote, those who put faith in the Lotus Sutra and uphold it are like the greatest of all people. Greatest not being like we get the most gold stars, but because we are living life truthfully to its utmost. Understand what the word great here in English can be confusing here, but remember the descriptions of the great monks, bodhisattvas. Bodhisattvas termed in many sutras as the great such and such, meaning that they had achieved what others had not, that their enlightenment was superior, not by hierarchy, but by wisdom, by knowing, by actually experiencing Buddhahood. Yeah. This means that those who upheld the Flower Garland Sutra are bodhisattvas Samantabhadra, Moon of Emancipation, Nagarjuna, and Ashvaghosha, and Grandmaster Fa Tsang, State Master Qingyang, Empress Wu, Masters Shinjo and Ryoben, and Emperor Shomu. The Revealing the Profound and Secret Sutra and the Wisdom Sutra have been upheld by Bodhisattva Shogisho, Venerable Subhuti, Grandmaster Chixiang, Venerable Xuanchang, Emperors Tangchung and Gaochung of Tang, China, Priest Kanroku and Dosho, and Emperor Kotoku of Japan. The Great Sun Buddha Sutra of the Shingon school has been upheld by Vajrasattva, Bodhisattvas Nagarjuna and Nagabodai, King Satyavahona, Tripitaka Masters Subhakarashima, Vajrabodai, and Amogarvajra. Mouthful. Emperors Hatsung and Taitung of Dang, Huikyo, and Grandmaster Kobo and Jikaku. The Nirvana Sutra has been upheld by Bodhisattva Kashodoji. 52 groups of those who listened to the preaching of the Nirvana Sutra, Tripitaka Master Dharmaraksa, Fa Yun of Chuangche Temple, and the 10 masters of northern and southern China. Now I'll get back to this. He's just listing all these various stages of learning and beliefs. However, ordinary people in the latter age of degeneration who single-mindedly believe that the Lotus Sutra is supreme of all the sutras which have been preached, are being preached, and will ever be preached, and that it is the only way leading to Buddhahood, are 100,000, 10,000, 10 million times superior to those bodhisattvas and great masters. This is true even if they may not be able to keep one precept, may be regarded by others as ichantikas who have no faith in Buddhism and may not have any ability to understand things at all. So says this passage from the sutra. Some of those great bodhisattvas and masters spread those sutras among people so that they would be converted later to the Lotus Sutra. Okay. Page turning, Carmen. Others attach themselves to those sutras without moving into the Lotus Sutra, while still others not only remained in those sutras, but also attached themselves so much to them that they insisted that the Lotus Sutra was inferior to those sutras. Ooh. Now we're seeing some big differences, right? Qualifying mind, attitude, intent. Therefore, practitioners of the Lotus Sutra today should remember this as preached in the, quote, previous Life of Medicine King Bodhisattva chapter. Quote, just as the ocean is the largest of all bodies of water, upholders of the Lotus Sutra are above all other people. Not looking down our nose at everyone else, but above in the sense that we have much clearer understanding of Buddha, that we are able to attain Buddhahood, the highest perception of clarity and wonder and of the experience of life. The most life-affirming. They should also remember, quote, just as the moon is brighter than any star, upholders of the Lotus Sutra are the first among the people. Wise men today in Japan are like numerous stars, while Nichiren is like the full moon. Again, not a statement of arrogance, not a statement of conceit. A statement of confidence. Yeah? A statement of confidence in Shakyamuni's teachings leading to absolute truth. There's no politic in here. There's no, I just finished reading, anyone taking Lotus Sutra practice seriously as their vehicle, as our vehicle, to instantiate Buddha clarity in our minds. Whether, what was the words? Whether we understand or not, or whether... Yeah, other people might call us a chantika, like we don't know what we're doing. Even those who cannot keep one precept, like don't lie, or maybe regarded by others as ichantika, or who have no confidence in Buddhism, but they practice anyway. It seems kind of odd to say. And may not have any ability to understand anything. They're just stupid. They are higher still in mind, in potential, than practicers of previous teachings that's holding them back. That's no longer valid for instantiating Buddhahood in this age. This is a very strong statement, and it's important to understand that the Lotus Sutra is superior not because all the other teachings don't matter, The Lotus Sutra is superior because it is today, in this age, the only practice amongst all the teachings of Shakyamuni that is about self-realization right now, completely, efficaciously in this life, which was the goal all along and talked about, but in the Lotus is very, very direct. And that is because we live in a time of inordinate distractions. So much that wants to keep us obsessed about possession, ownership, thingness, position, politic. In the midst of all this noise, we have to have a very efficient tool. Namum Myoho Renge Kyo. Nothing else will do it. Question, did anyone say this before? Well, he just quoted all of these things from Shakyamuni, 3,000-year-old teachings. Did anyone ever say this before? It's fascinating, isn't it? The study of human stubbornness. I'm curious, how does Nichiren respond to that question? Well, he says, Grandmaster Dengyo has said it in his outstanding principles of the Lotus Sutra. That was 700 years ago, right? You should know this. As basic canons of other schools are not the supreme sutras, those who uphold those sutras are not enlightened above all people. The basic canon of Tendai Lotus School is the Supreme Sutra, so those who uphold it are enlightened above all people. These are the words of the Buddha, Shakyamuni. How can this be self-conceit? End quote. That was a quote from Dengyo. When a mite riding on the tail of a dragon horse, which can run 1,000 ri a day, boasts that it, the mite, can run 1,000 ri a day, or when a follower of the wheel-turning noble king claims to run around the world in a second, who would blame or suspect him? We should remember by heart, quote, how can this be self-conceit, end quote. If so, since those who uphold the Lotus Sutra exactly as it is are above the king of the Brahma heaven and Indra, they should be able to have Mount Sumeru carried by Ashura demons and great ocean swallowed up by dragons. So this is hyperbole and storytelling, but again, reinstating the fact that if you practice Lotus Sutra Buddhism, the self-practice of perfect enlightenment in this moment, how could there be anything superior to you? You have reached the pinnacle of Buddhism. And anyone who says different is deluded. They're either ignorant or they haven't yet found or practiced correctly the self-practice of the Lotus Sutra, Namu Myoho Renge Kyo. They may just not know it. This is why we, bodhisattvas of the earth, need to reach out to our fellow bodhisattvas of the earth who aren't aware that they are bodhisattvas of the earth and awaken them, help them. Compassion. Oh, you don't know. You're a billionaire. Oh, I'm sorry you're struggling so much. Didn't you know you have all the wealth in the world? That kind of, it kind of tilts the brain a bit, doesn't it? View everyone you meet in life as a votary of the Lotus Sutra, just as you are. Equal. Man, that can be hard to do, by the way. But if it's hard, it's only because of the nature of the work that needs to be done. Some of it is ours, some of it is theirs, but it all leads to the same emancipation, doesn't it? According to Grandmaster Dengyo, quote, those who praise the Lotus Sutra accumulate merits as high as Mount Sumeru, and those who slander it fall into the hell of incessant suffering, end quote. It is said that the Lotus Sutra, chapter 3, quote, if someone despises, hates, envies, or bears a grudge against the person who reads, recites, or upholds the Lotus Sutra, so on and so forth, you remember this, such a person will fall into the hell of incessant suffering upon his death, in the very next moment, right? Birth, death, birth, death, birth, death. I haven't said that in a while. We live moment to moment. Birth, death, birth, death, birth, death, birth, death. Death is not the opposite of life. It's the opposite of birth. And birth and death are moments. 3,000 of them in a single thought moment. So will your next moment be enlivened by enlightenment? Or will you drag the next birth in a death that left you wanting, suffering, attached? Right? It's a continuum, but it's discrete moments. If the golden words of Lord Shakyamuni Buddha are true, I mean, why else would we practice Buddhism? If the testimony of the Buddha of many treasures is correct, which attested to the truth of Shakyamuni's teaching, and if the testimony of the Buddhas from all over the worlds in the universe, with their long and wide tongues, is certain, in other words, with all of the teachings leading to this truth, how can there be any doubt that all the people in Japan will fall into the hell of incessant suffering because of their actions against the very teaching that they purport to follow? Right? They all call themselves Buddhists, but they're not following the Buddhist teaching. It is said in the Lotus Sutra, Facile 8, Chapter 28, quote, if someone will uphold, read, and recite this sutra in the future, his wishes will be fulfilled and he will receive a happy reward in this present life. I caution you, and I don't know about this translation, but I can tell you what it means because I've read enough Buddhist literature and teachings for 45 years or so that the reward and wishes being fulfilled are not about stuff. They're not about possession. They're about that internal growth, that light bulb in the attic, where everything feels like a gift because the experience of it is all-encompassing. It's undifferentiated. Things are just things, all in one big grouping. They're not individual, identified, thingified identity. Your identity doesn't any longer come from all of the stuff in samsara. It comes from perception. And that's all you. That's your Buddha. Your understanding that there is no separate. There is no gaining or losing. There is no having, possessing, or giving away or loss. That's the illusion. That in this moment, everything is yours and you are everything. It's like an old Motown song, yeah? If you uphold, read, and recite this sutra, the reward body in this life is that realization of Buddhahood. It is said also, quote, if someone reveres and praises the Lotus Sutra, he will receive a real reward in this present life. Real reward, meaning not thingness. Perception is the real reward. Experience is the real reward. Even I shouldn't do this, but reduce it to a thing. How did you feel when you first got your first new shoes, car, house, girlfriend, boyfriend? That elation, that amazement. Now watch the words. You don't have new shoes. You're experiencing new shoes. There's a critical difference, right? Instead of ownership, there's the experience of, and that's not withheld or qualified by the shoes. It's something you are in your mind experiencing. Regarding these two passages, the 8 characters meaning he will receive a happy reward in this present life, end quote, and another 8 characters meaning he will receive a real reward in this life, end quote. If these 16 characters are not realized and I, Nichiren, do not receive a great reward in this life, the golden words of the Buddha would be as worthless as empty words of Devadatta. And the testimony of the Buddha of many treasures would be no different from the lies of Kokalika, the disciple of Devadatta. All the people who slandered the Lotus Sutra would not fall into the hell of incessant suffering, and there would be no Buddhas throughout life in the past, present, and future. Therefore, I urge you, my disciples, practice Buddhism as preached in the Lotus Sutra without sparing your life, and put Buddhism to proof once for all. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo, Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. So here's Nichiren's challenge to you and I. You want to experience reward? You want to know whether there's a reward at all in being human and sentient and being able to experience life fully, as Shakyamuni says? Well, then do it. Put it to proof. Prove it to yourself. Don't rely on the words of people, others. Buddhahood is your experience to have, your experience to discover, to experience. No one can give it to you and no one can take it away from you. So if you're unsure, do it. See what happens. That's what Nichiren is saying. Put a pin in it. The next part we'll read is exhortation not to spare one's own life for the sake of the supreme way. And we've talked about that before. It's not about losing life. It's about, I shouldn't do that, sorry. It's about commitment. I mean, after all, can you truly say something is or isn't true if you don't put it to the test? If you don't truly put it to the test, if you just half-heartedly try something, anything, can you truly say that recipe is crap and doesn't work for you if you did it with replacement ingredients, inferior stuff, and you didn't cook it all, whatever? You can't say that recipe's at fault. Unless you follow that recipe accurately and use the materials that it requests for it to accomplish its goal, you cannot criticize the recipe. So you want to experience Buddhahood? You want to know what enlightenment is, what it feels like, what it looks like? Then do it. Get the proper mandala, cafepress.com/Gohanzon. Get a proper liturgy, Gongyo book, lulu.com/spotlight/Kwoon. Enshrine your mandala. Do Gongyo, chant Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Give it the length of time you would give a class in school, any class. 3 to 4 months, approximately a semester, yeah. And do it. Do it every day, morning and evening. And then at the end of that, really evaluate how your life has gone for the last few months. Did it change? Did things happen that you weren't prepared for? Did things happen that amazed you? If so, why? What was the difference? Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. It was your practice. The time you made for your practice, the dedication you gave your practice. But if you just wrote, don't really give it any effort, I guarantee you your life will still change, but it may not be as dramatic. It may not be as obvious because you don't want to see it. But that's not the fault of the recipe. And I know all of you have strong practice. I know that because this channel is an option. No one's twisting your arm to be here. And most likely you've been exposed to this teaching before. But it's let you down. But it's not the teaching that let you down, it's the people that let you down. And I feel sad for that. But I'm so proud of your courage because you know this is truth. This works. You know it does. You're bodhisattvas of the earth. Enjoy every moment of success with your practice. Savor it. Thank your Buddha nature, your samsaric sentient mind, for making space for Buddhahood. Celebrate it. I'm deeply proud of your practice. So happy you tune in to these podcasts. Many of you are downloading the audio podcast version. Thank you for that. But don't forget, like, subscribe, share. Don't forget the website. There's lots of material there that you can keep in a file so that if you need a refresher or somebody asks you a question, you go, oh yeah, the 5 factors. Let me go. Hold on. I have this document. Or go on the website. Yeah, the 5 factors, here they are. Da, 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 da. Oh yeah, I can tell you what that means now. I refreshed my memory. Right? Everything about what we're doing here is a resource to help us solidify our practice. We need that. It's not like we're cloistered with other monks in a little building where we're studying this every day and it's on the tip of our tongue all the time. We have so many other distractions. So we need reference books. We need this channel. We need, right, a resource. So let's be that for one another. Thanks again. I'm going to stop talking now. Thanks for being here. Be kind to yourself. Keep your practice strong. And I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.